Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's a joy to have you with us once again. Today, we will explore a fundamental yet often overlooked aspect of spiritual practice, how observing the body, speech, and mind of a spiritual master can help us cultivate true faith. What is true faith, and how does it manifest in our daily lives? Can observing the actions, words, and thoughts of someone who embodies wisdom actually accelerate our own journey toward enlightenment? Let's dive into this topic and uncover the deep significance of this practice. Faith is often described as the foundation of all spiritual practice. Without it, the practitioner's path can be aimless. But faith is not something we can force into being. It's not a blind belief or passive trust. True faith is built on understanding, experience, and resonance. It's the kind of faith that comes from seeing, hearing, and feeling the power of the teachings as they manifest in the life of the Master. And one of the most potent ways to cultivate this faith is by observing the Master's body, speech, and mind. The first aspect we need to explore is the body. The body, as we know, is the vehicle through which we interact with the world. In the case of a spiritual master, the body becomes a living example of practice. Every movement, gesture, and posture carries meaning. In many traditions, it's said that the physical actions of a true teacher embody the teachings themselves. When we observe the Master's body, we are not just watching for external signs of piety or discipline. We are learning how to live in alignment with the Dharma. Take, for example, a simple act like bowing. In many Buddhist traditions, bowing is an essential practice. It is not just a physical gesture, but a profound expression of humility, respect, and surrender to the wisdom of the teachings. When a master bows, it is an acknowledgement of the impermanence of self, the interdependence of all beings, and the vastness of the teachings. By observing the Master's body in these moments, we begin to understand what true humility and devotion look like in practice. We can feel that faith is not just a concept, but a lived experience. The second aspect is the speech of the Master. Words have incredible power, and the way a teacher speaks reveals much about their level of understanding. A master's speech is never just words, they are a transmission of wisdom. When a teacher speaks, they are not merely communicating information, they are offering a direct transmission of insight. The Master's words may seem simple, but they carry profound meaning. Every sentence, every phrase, is imbued with the wisdom that comes from years of practice and realization. When we listen carefully to the speech of a master, we are not only learning the teachings in an intellectual sense, we are tuning our hearts to the rhythm of their wisdom. We begin to hear not just the literal meaning of their words, but the deeper resonance beneath. The speech of a true master serves as a mirror for our own practice. When we listen to a master, we learn how to speak with mindfulness, how to choose words that cultivate peace, compassion, and clarity. Observing the Master's speech teaches us the power of right speech, and it is through this practice that our own speech begins to transform. But perhaps the most important aspect is the mind of the Master. The mind, in spiritual practice, is the source of all our actions, thoughts, and emotions. It is the root of everything. A true Master's mind is free from the clutter of delusion, attachment, and distraction. It is a mind that sees clearly, that acts with compassion, and that remains calm in the face of adversity. When we observe the Master's mind in action, we are witnessing the highest level of spiritual realization. Of course, we cannot directly see the thoughts of a master, but we can observe the effects of their mind in their actions. The way a master responds to others, the way they remain peaceful in the face of difficulty, the way they show boundless compassion, these are all reflections of a deeply cultivated mind. By observing these qualities, we begin to understand what a mind free from attachment, anger, and ignorance looks like. The Master's mind becomes a living example of the potential that exists within all of us. This brings us to a profound realization: the Master's body, speech, and mind are not separate from our own path. They are the very embodiment of the Dharma. When we observe these qualities in the Master, we begin to see them reflected in ourselves. We begin to understand how the teachings manifest in real life, how they can be embodied in our own bodies, in our speech, and in our minds. This is the foundation of true faith, the kind of faith that is not built on belief alone, but on direct experience. True faith rises from seeing the teachings in action, from witnessing the power of the Dharma as it is embodied in the life of the teacher. The more we observe, the more we come to realize that the Master is not separate from us. They are a reflection of our own potential. And it is through this understanding that we begin to walk the path with confidence and clarity. Let me share a story to illustrate this point. There was a student named Soto who had been practicing for many years under a great teacher, but despite his efforts, he felt that he had not made significant progress. He was frustrated and began to question whether he would ever attain the realization he longed for. One day, he went to his teacher and expressed his doubts. The teacher simply smiled and asked Soto to observe him for a day, his body, his speech, his mind. Soto agreed. Throughout the day, he watched his teacher closely. He saw how the teacher moved with grace and humility, never rushing or forcing anything. He noticed how the teacher spoke gently, choosing his words carefully, and how every interaction with others was filled with kindness and respect. But most of all, Soto saw how the teacher's mind was unwavering, even in the face of challenges. There was no agitation, no frustration, no attachment, just pure presence. At the end of the day, Soto sat with his teacher and said, "I understand now. I've been trying to force my progress, but I see now that it's about being present, about embodying the teachings in every moment." The teacher nodded and said, "Exactly. True faith is not about striving, it's about being open, being receptive, and letting the teachings flow through you." Soto's heart opened that day. He had been searching for something grand, some great achievement, but what he needed was to observe, to be present, and to allow the teachings to manifest naturally in his life. This is the power of observing the Master's body, speech, and mind. It teaches us not to force our practice, but to allow it to unfold in its own time. It shows us that the path is not about external accomplishments, but about internal transformation. And it is through this transformation that we begin to build true faith. In the end, observing the Master's embodiment of the Dharma serves as a reminder: faith is not something we can simply think about, it is something we live, it is something we feel, something we embody. When we see the teacher's life, we begin to see the path we are meant to walk. We realize that the Dharma is not just a set of teachings, it is a living reality, and we are already part of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this message inspiring or insightful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts with us. Have you ever experienced the transformative power of observing a teacher? How did it deepen your faith? We look forward to hearing your stories and insights. Until next time, may you walk in peace, may your heart be open, and may your faith be strong. See you in the next video.